Julius Caesar said that the Suevi were the most warlike German nation in ancient times and could field 1,000 men in battle. This is because they would rotate each year, but because they were constantly mobilizing, they didn't practice agriculture. He said that they just lived off milk and flesh and spent most of their days hunting, and this he believes gave them their larger physique, something other authors also mentioned. But he also interestingly said that they didn't have private property and that they only lived in a property for 1 year. But if you want a more complete account on Germanic people, you have to read Tacitus. Backed up Caesar's point of them being tall, but also said that they were mainly red-headed, and he also theorized that they were racially pure. Otherwise, the leader would have to be the most brave on the battlefield, and returning soldiers would often show women and the elderly their wounds and would be given food accordingly. But let's focus on day-to-day life. Now, Tacitus said that when they weren't at war, the men did nothing. He said that they were idling, abandoned to sleep and gluttony. So the running of the house in the fields was left to the women and men who weren't strong enough to go to war. Houses, by the way, were built quite far apart from one another because Tacitus said that they were poor builders and cramped housing would be a fire risk. But he also said that sometimes they hollowed out caves and lived in there. So housing wasn't ideal, and although men and women wore a sort of short cloak, children often lived naked. The average day in peacetime would consist of waking up, having a wash, a little breakfast, then maybe hunting, and then from late afternoon until evening and through the night, they would attend a banquet. Now here they drink a juice made from wheat extract more often than not, and they would settle their issues, arrange marriages, and often fight. And Tacitus said that they played a dice game in which the loser would sometimes become the other man's slave. Otherwise, they married old, and neither the men nor the women were adulterous, by and large. But if the woman was adulterous, she would have her head shaved and be flogged in the middle of the village. And as for the men, they were not allowed to show sadness even at a funeral. And funerals, by the way, lacked all sense of pomp. It was just a regular burning.